Do you think keto on a budget can't be done? Well, we're here today to show you our top 6 tips for doing keto on a budget.
Hi, I'm Erika.
And I'm Dan.
And we have Butterwheel Travel. And if you would like some awesome keto budget-friendly recipe ideas, check out the link in description below.
Our first tip is to buy the cheaper cuts of meat, like chicken wings, ground beef, mince, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like the slow cooked kind of meat, stewing meat, that type of stuff's generally cheaper than, you know, like steaks and chicken breasts and that type of thing. Also, if you can't afford it, you don't need to be going for grass-fed, organic, those type of things. Just get the cheapest meat there is. Obviously, that's not ideal, but it's better to be doing a keto diet with those type of foods than like a standard diet. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Our second tip for doing keto on a budget is to buy in bulk and cook in bulk if you can. So something like Costco is a great idea because you can buy meat in bulk and it's generally cheaper, and then you can cook up a big batch of something, portion it up in the freezer, and you've got it there to go.
And it's ready to go. It also makes it a bit easier too, because you've got meals ready to go rather than making a decision around.
Exactly, and quite often buying any sort of food in bulk is generally cheaper than buying a small amount.
Tip number 3 is to avoid the carby substitutes like keto baking, keto donuts, keto cakes. The sweeteners and things can get pretty expensive for those kind of products.
As well as almond flour, coconut flour. You're buying all these specialty ingredients, which are nice, and it's great to have that stuff as a substitute, but you don't need to have it. If you can't afford it, don't bother with those things, and that will help you keep it more budget friendly.
That's right.
Our fourth tip would be to keep it simple. You don't have to have like a massive amount of variety and cooking all these gourmet keto dinners. I mean, if you would like to, that's great, but sometimes buying all those separate ingredients and herbs and spices and things can really add up. So keep it simple. You can eat the same thing over and over if it's something that you enjoy and you find it satiating. So like bacon and eggs, ground meat, like ground, beef mince or something like that can be super affordable, and just keep it simple.
Tip number 5 is be prepared to cook at home. You can definitely do it a lot cheaper, much more on a budget if you're willing to cook your own meals. Eating out adds up regardless of any way that you're eating.
For sure.
So keto is so much easier if you're prepared to cook your meals at home.
And sometimes eating out on keto, you can tend to have to add a side or something, we find, so it sometimes can be a little more expensive than eating out regularly. And the stuff we're buying is, generally like a steak or a fish rather than something carby, which is usually cheaper. So yeah, cooking your own meals at home is definitely a big way to do keto on a budget. Our last tip, number 6, is that you don't need to spend money on gadgets or special products, supplements, all that type of thing. So I know it's great if you've got a super high-powered blender or an air fryer or something like that to cook your keto meals, but you don't need it. You need a frying pan or an oven or stuff that you probably already have.
Yeah.
You don't need to be having things like MCT oil or special protein powders.
Or exogenous ketones.
Or anything like that. If you're on a budget, those things aren't necessary. So yeah, or like keto, I guess, products like sweet treats. You can get sort of like in Australia we have no-shoe donuts, for example, but they're not cheap. So something that you would probably just have to pass up on and stick to your bacon and eggs.
The other thing you don't have to have is a ketone tester.
Yes.
So you can do keto without testing your ketones. And that adds up as well.
Yes.
One of those strips costs about $1. So you got to buy the machine and then you got to buy the strips. So again, not a necessary part of keto.
Yeah, so extra keto special gadgets and products, basically not really necessary. They make it nice and sustainable, but not necessary.
So that is our top 6 tips for keto on a budget. We'd love to hear what your #1 tip for keto on a budget is. I'm sure lots of you out there are doing it on a budget with families and things like that. So we'd love to know your tips and share them around so that everyone knows good ways to keep it on a budget.
We'd really appreciate it if you would like this video, perhaps share it with some keto friends of yours that it might help, and subscribe to our channel for way more videos like this coming out. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.